in my daily Bible readings. I read Scripture in 4 different sections. One of them is the Old Testament, Genesis through Malachi, but I exclude Psalms through Song of Solomon, and I do those separately. So I was working my way through some of the more challenging books to read, which is Deuteronomy and Numbers. I came to the book of Joshua, and to me this is easier reading because it's historical and it's entertaining. And so I come to chapter 17 of the book of Joshua. And I began to read about the tribe of Manasseh. And just to kind of bring you up to speed, you might remember that Manasseh and Ephraim were the 2 sons of Joseph. And there was no tribe named Joseph. It was his 2 sons, Ephraim and Manasseh. And you may remember that when it came time for Jacob, who became Israel, to die, they brought these 2 young men to Jacob for the blessing. And Jacob put his hand on Ephraim's head to start the blessing, and Joseph moved or tried to move his hand from Ephraim over to Manasseh. And he said, "Dad, that's wrong." He says, "Because Manasseh is the oldest." And Jacob said, "No, Manasseh will be blessed, but the greater blessing will be upon Ephraim." So now, fast forward, generations have passed. Manasseh has sons, but the last son before where we come to here was Helphar. But Helphar had no sons himself. He only had daughters. Now, I'm just gleaning from what I'm reading here that this caused Manasseh to be, or the tribe of Manasseh to be at somewhat of a disadvantage because of the lack of men. And so they had gone to Moses when Moses was still alive and said, "Moses, we want to make sure that we're going to get proper inheritance when it comes to the distribution of the land." And Moses assured them that they would. And now they've come to Joshua to reaffirm this. And they say to Joshua, they said, the hill which we have to live on is not big enough for us because we are a great people. But the truth of the matter is that their inheritance was much greater, but they had not claimed all of it because on one of the mountains there were Canaanites who were giants. And they had chariots of iron and weapons of iron, and they seemed as if it would be impossible to defeat them. So now they're going and say, well, we need a greater distribution of some of the other tribes in order to be able to satisfy our need for land. And Joshua says, no. And this is the scripture I want to lead you with. But the mountain shall be thine. Talking about that mountain where the Canaanites are and where the giants are. In the name of our Father, that mountain is yours. And I want to build off that truth as we go through the broadcast week. This is Pastor Jack King with the Gospel on the Radio broadcast.